Good morning, friends, and welcome to my first session on business communication, when we'll be studying and communicating in order to understand and comprehend what exactly is communication. So, before I start by telling you what is communication, let me tell you the best known communicator. Who is he? He is Hanumanji from Ramayana. Yes, Hanumanji is known as the best communicator when it comes to communication of any kind of facts, figures, grammatical command on grammar. So Hanumanji is known as the best communicator. Communication has been coming up from the ancient ages, that is from our epics Ramayana and Mahabharata. It is very much prevalent. It was very much prevalent during that ages as well. So now let me tell you about what is communication. Yes, communication is an art of transmitting information, ideas, attitudes from one person to another. Right now, what are we doing is communication. It is one-way communication. Communication can be one way, it can be two ways as well. Two ways, it means wherein two or more people are involved, and one way is a kind of intrapersonal, wherein only one person is communicating. Okay, so next is communication is the process of meaningful interaction among human beings. Meaningful interaction, as in when I want to convey any kind of fact, any kind of figures, or I want to convey some very important message to the other person. Communication is again a process by which information is exchanged between individual. It can be through common systems of symbols, it can be through signs or any kind of information. So it can be verbal or non-verbal. Verbal as in through words, and non-verbal with the help of signs, sign languages, body language, posture, gestures. Now, these are the few essences as in how a good communication should be. It is a personal process, like we know it is a personal process because it involves two or more than two people communicating or trying to convey a message to each other. Again, it occurs between people. Like I told you, it is interpersonal. Interpersonal, wherein I mean it is between two or more than two people. Again, it means to influence others. Yes, it means to influence wherein I'm trying to convince or I'm trying to persuade my ideas on the other person. So that's why, again, communication is trying to influence the other person. Expression of thoughts, emotions through words and actions. When I talk about communication, for me, communication is basically clarity of two things. The first is clarity of thoughts, and second is clarity of expressions. Clarity of thoughts, as in I should know what has to be conveyed to the other person, what should be the facts, what message should be there, and it should include all the 7 C's of communication that I will be covering in the later stages. Then again, expression, clarity of expression, wherein I should know what has to be, how it has to be expressed with the help of gesture, my body language, how it has to be expressed. So I need to take care of two things, that is clarity of thoughts and clarity of expressions. Yes, again, here we can talk about CQ, SQ, EQ, our spiritual quotient, competitive quotient, emotional quotient. We need to take care of all these things even when we talk about communication. Again, it acts as a tool for controlling and motivating people. I should know with the help of my posture, with the help of my words, how can I control the other person? How can I motivate the other person? So I need to be very clever, very smart when it comes to words and my body language. It is a social and emotional process again. Now, what are the most common ways to communicate? For me, the most common ways to communicate are spoken words. Words mean a lot. Words, we need to be very careful while speaking, because once we speak, the words cannot be taken back. So we have to be very clever and smart while speaking or talking. Next, written word. Yes, whenever we are writing any kind of letter, any kind of application, any kind of written document, we need to be very smart while writing, because the words can create a hell lot of hindrances, and it can hamper the entire communication process. Visual images, here I would like to state one example of infographics, wherein images are given, and with the help of those images we have to draw conclusion that what is our understanding level from out of that particular image. So again, visual images matter a lot when it comes to communication. Body language, yes, in body language we talk about gestures and postures, the way I sit, the way I communicate, the way I uh, move my hands, my facial expressions, my gestures. So all these matters a lot in the communication. It is not only the words but also the body that talks a lot. Yes. Now, a very interesting topic and my favorite topic, that is importance of good communication. Now, what is good communication? When we talk about good communication, it is a blend of many things. The communication, it is words, actions, the way I behave, the way I respond, the way I react. So it is said that instead of reacting, we should always respond to the situations. We should never react, so we should always respond. So here I would like to, before I start by telling you importance of good communication, I would like to quote some instances from Ramayana. So according to Ramayana, the best communicator is Hanumanji. And I would be telling you about this in the later slides. Before that, let me tell you Rama's speech pattern as described in Ramayana. So Rama's speech pattern was Shrutbhashi, wherein Shrutbhashi means one who speaks truth, one who is honest at all the times. The next is Mitbhashi, a person who speaks very limited as per the need arises. Next is Hitbhashi. Hitbhashi means a person who speaks pleasant things to hear, who sounds very pleasant and is very motivating. And next is Purvabhashi. Purvabhashi means a person who takes initiative to begin any kind of discussion, or who takes initiative to start any kind of conversation without waiting for others to begin the talk. So these were the four speech patterns of Rama from the Ramayana. Now, along with this, I would like to quote some examples which will prove that yes, these speech patterns were correctly proved and they were accurate during that ages as well. So one day, when Ravana was defeated by Rama, when the fight took place between Ravana and Ram, Ravana was well in advance warned by Rama, that he was briefed by Rama that you go back and you come again next day. Second instant is that Surpanaka, who was the sister of Ravana, she comes in abruptly and asks Rama that who are you? Then Rama, he briefs completely in a complete accurate message. He gives that uh, Rama gives a very brief yet completely accurate autobiography, thereby eliminating the need for a second question. So these are the few things that we need to take care of in order to have a good communication between individuals. Communication is not just speaking with having by just speaking in English and all. It is speaking or conveying the message, be it in any language that you are comfortable in. It is not just that English is the only medium. It is communicating in any language in which you are comfortable with. Again, one more example I would like to state, that baby cries for hunger. Crying of baby is a communication for the baby stating that I am hungry. Again, animals also communicate in their own ways, like dogs communicate by barking, and they tell their owners that there is an intruder. So this is the way of the animals telling or communicating in their own manner. So it is not only the human beings who can communicate, it is also the animals who can communicate in their own ways. Okay, now let's see what are the importances of good communication. Good communication allows a firm to learn new skills and technologies. It is very much necessary. In order to have good communication, we should be well versed with new skills, new technologies, new upgradations, what all are coming in the market. We should be well versed with all those things. It becomes more responsive to customers. When customers come in confront us, we should be very much responsive to them, because the customers are the king and the queen, so they matter the most for a particular business. So customers can be both irate or they can be happy customers. So we should be knowing how well to be active, how well to respond to the customers, and how we can satisfy the customers. Again, next, improve quality of their product or service. Now, by satisfying the customer's needs, wants, and the taste preferences, by knowing their taste, wants, and all, we can improve the quality of the product or the service, and we can give the best possible thing to the market. So again, here also communication is very much important. By feedback also we can improve the quality. We need to take feedback from the customers regarding any product or any service, and then we need to improve the quality. Again, foster innovation. We need to innovate our products and services time and again. Stereotype work will not do. So even while taking lectures, or even while doing any small work, even a household course, we need to be very much innovative, that how I can do out of box thinking, and I can come up with something new that will attract the customers. Again, effective communication is needed by all managers and at all levels of management, be it top level, middle level, or the lower level management. We need to have effective communication so that work is carried out in sync. Now, these are the few objectives of communication. Like, what are the main objectives behind a communication taking place in an organization or any place? The first is to inform. We need to inform well in advance our subordinates or our superior that what all work has to be carried out, not only in our organization, even the place where you are the place where you're residing, or it can be your friends, your relatives, your parents, your peer group, your seniors. We need to inform everything in advance, to reassure, to teach, to deliver news, whether good or bad. We need to deliver news, whether it is good or whether it is bad. It has to be timely delivered, to understand, to explain the things, again, to persuade, to influence, to convince the other person, to transact, to organize, to control, and to coordinate with each other. Okay. So ingredients of communication, by ingredients of communication, I actually mean the communication process. But when I talk about the communication process, I have 4 key elements. The first, participant. Now, who are the participants in a communication process? They are mainly two: the sender and the receiver. So they are the main two participants in the communication process. Next is encoding. Now, what is encoding and what is decoding? These are two terms which mean, or which matter the most in the entire communication process. Encoding is actually the creation of the message, wherein the sender actually creates a message. And decoding is the interpreting, translating of the message being given or being conveyed by the sender. So this is the difference between encoding and decoding. Encoding is creation of the message, and decoding is interpreting or translating the message. So now let's see communication process, how it actually works. The sender, this is the first party. So I am the sender. I will be creating one message. I have thought of some message, like my message is business communication. I have to deliver a lecture on business communication. So this is what I have thought, my intended message. Next, encoding. Now I have to create a message. I have to create my entire lecture, that what actually I have to deliver to my students. So that is encoding. Next comes the medium or mode of transmittal. Now, medium, it can be any common language or means of communication. It can be telephone, it can be WhatsApp, it can be Facebook, it can be emailing, it can be a letter, it can be anything. So proper and accurate mode and medium has to be selected. Now, when I know the person in front of me can understand English better than over other languages. So I need to select a proper and appropriate language to be communicated between us. So English will be proper. Now I should know what would be my mode of transmittal of message. So proper mode has to be selected. Video conferencing, if I feel it is apt. So video conferencing has to be selected as a mode of transmittal of the message. Then comes the receiver. The message will go on to the receiver will take the message, then the receiver will interpret the message according to his mindset, that what he thinks or what is his level of understanding. Accordingly he will interpret the message, and then the message, if any feedback has to be given, then the receiver will send the feedback to the sender, and again the cycle will move on, the process will move on in the same manner. This is the role of a sender and the receiver. Sender does thinking, encoding, that is the creation of the message, and transmitting, that is sending of the message to the receiver. And what a receiver does, he perceives what message has been sent, and then he interprets the message in his own language according to his level of understanding, and then he tries to understand or comprehend what message has been actually sent by the sender. Okay, this is again the repetition of the same, the communication process. Sender has an idea, sender encodes idea in message, message travels over channel, any language, any mode that has to be selected or chosen. Then the receiver takes the message, he decodes accordingly, and then possible feedback, if the receiver feels any feedback has to be given, additional feedback, then the feedback is sent again to the sender. Again the sender, if he feels something has to be sent, again the same cycle is followed accordingly. Yes, so here I have shown barrier and noise. So noise is the biggest barrier in any kind of communication. Noise hampers the entire communication. Along with noise, we have many other barriers which hamper or which cause hindrances in the communication process that we'll be seeing in the later stages of the my lecture. Okay, after this, now let's see the types of communication. What are the types of communication? There are three main categories of types of communication. The first is according to the organizational structure. The second is according to direction. And the third is according to expression. So according to organizational structure, under this we have again two, that is formal and informal. Now what is formal and informal according to us? Formal is wherein all the top authorities, the management is involved. So that is the formal communication. So your the policies, your strategies, your rules and regulations, your organizational structure, everything will come under your formal communication. Informal communication, when we talk about it is more of relational, and formal is more of structured. Formal authorities and all, top level authorities and all, and informal is more about your friendship and relational. It talks about, it is backed by relational. So in informal, mainly we talk about rumors. The other term given to rumors is grapevine. So grapevine, yes, which is very much common and which is very much talked about in all kinds of organization. That is a grapevine, also known as rumors, gossips. Okay. Next is according to direction. Now, when we talk about according to direction, we have three types: downward communication, upward communication, and horizontal communication. When we talk about downward communication comes from top to down to lower level management. Top level management, middle to lower level management. So, for example, when we talk about downward communication, it is the performance appraisals, suggestions, you can say, or focus groups. So all these comes in your downward communication. Again, upward means from lower, middle to top level management. So what goes here? Sorry, yeah, a bit confusion. Downward is like from top to lower, So the example of downward would be policies, rules and regulations and all these things, and upward would be your performance appraisals, employee appraisals, and all these things from upward, that is from lower to top level management. Horizontal communication. Horizontal communication is your communication between the departments which are interlinked to each other, like communication taking place between finance, marketing, HR, IB, production, operations, all these departments. So example would be team meetings and all. This can be an example of horizontal communication. So I hope downward, upward and horizontal communication are clear. Again, according to expression, oral and written. Oral is your verbal communication through words that we speak, that we talk, that is oral, wherein words are involved. So oral communication is that. Written is your, again, it is written, whatever we write in words. And the main difference between oral and written communication is that in oral we don't have any kind of evidence with us. It cannot be stored or saved. Written, we have the documents with us which can be saved for years and years. So oral and written, when we talk about two, written is more backed by as an evidence or as a witness when it comes to legalities. Again, this is the hierarchy level. Downward is from executive director to foreman, that is your downward, and upward is your from foreman to executive director. So downward, you talk about rules, regulation, policies, policy making and all these things that we had that has to be conveyed to the lower level management. Upward would be your employee appraisals, suggestions to be given. So all this is from your this is your upward communication that will go from lower level management to the top level management. Again, horizontal, that like we can see, it is from one department to other department, team meetings and all that we can talk about in the horizontal communication. Okay, so this is the most important part of communication. Without this, any communication won't be complete. Barriers to communication. Anything that obstructs or hampers the free flow of communication is referred to as barrier to communication. So one we talked about is noise. Noise is the biggest obstruction in the process of communication. Likewise, we have four categories of barriers to effective communication. The first is semantic barrier, psychological barrier, organizational barrier, and then personal barriers. So like we can see a semantic barrier. Now semantic barriers, what does it mean? It actually means the barriers related to misinterpretation, then wrong use of grammar, wrong use of word, double entry of words. So all these things comes in your semantic barriers. So first under this is badly expressed message. So the message while conveying or while the message is to be expressed, we need to take care that how the construction of the messages, grammatical errors, they have to be checked, whether the grammar is fine or not, tenses have been properly used or not, so the framing is correct or not. So this has to be checked. So the message has to be expressed and constructed properly. Symbols with different meanings. Now there are certain kinds of words that mean dual meaning. So these things have to be taken care of. For example, I would like to give an example. The bird sanctuary had many cranes. So now the word crane, it is a bird also, and it is a crane is a bird also, and crane is the heavy equipment or heavy machinery taken to lift the which is used to lift the heavy metal rods and all. So here such kind of confusions have to be avoided. Again, faulty translations. I should take care of the level of understanding of the person whom I actually want to convey my message. Now, suppose I have a message to be conveyed to the subordinates. I need to know their level of understanding. And accordingly, the message has to be framed by taking in consideration the level of understanding of the people whom I actually want to convey the message. So in such a manner, we can avoid faulty translations because each and every person has got a different level of understanding. Unclarified assumption. We need to avoid overestimating and underestimating any individual. Now, why we need to avoid overestimating and underestimating? Once we make assumption that this person won't be able to give the message properly, this is the mindset that we make in our minds, and hence the communication hampers. So we should never make judgments in advance. We should first let the message complete, and then we should arrive at any kind of conclusion or any kind of judgment. Again, technical jargons like these engineers, doctors and all, they use many technical jargons. So we should first see that who is standing or who is the person with whom we are actually communicating, and then these such kind of things have to be used. Like nowadays, the generation, OMG, oh my god, these are the slang. And then LOL, laugh out loud. So such words while communicating or while, especially while writing emails, YOUU and only you, they have been replaced. So such things have to be avoided. OMG, no one will be able to understand when we talk. This is the only, today's generation can only understand what is this OMG, oh my god, LOL, laugh out loud, ROFL. So such things have to be taken care of. Body language and gesture coding. Yes, body language, the way I move my hands, the way I use my head to nod, my gestures, my sitting postures, all these things have to be taken care of, because again, the body language is the most important element in the communication process. Most of the communication is done with the help of body language. Around 80 to 90% of communication is done with the help of body language. Words are again, words also, they have to be wisely used, but body language matters a lot, because I speak something and my body is conveying some other message. So our body and our words should be in sync with each other. Next is psychological barriers. It is all about your mindset and all. Premature evaluation, again, yes, like I said, selective listening, entire message, and then a conclusion or a judgment has to be made. So premature evaluation, like if a person is speaking or talking on a particular topic, I need to first listen the entire message, what the person has in his box for me, and after that the judgments or the evaluations have to be made, not in advance. Lack of attention. Yes, again, selective listening should not be done. It's a big no. Lack of attention creates a lot of disturbance in the communication process. Attention has to be given, a full focus has to be there on what message is given, what message is being conveyed. Lost by poor attention. We should try to retain what is being spoken or what message is being conveyed. We should try to retain in our brains. It should not be that some messages taken or retained in our brain and some messages ignored. It should not be that case. The entire message has to be retained, and for that, what can be done? Today's generation, or for each and every generation, what can be done is eat almonds. That the best thing that can be done is eat almonds. So that with the help of almonds, it will help you in memorizing the things. It will also help you in retaining the things in your memory, in your brains. Distrust. Yes, distrust should not be shown towards the speaker. You should always trust the person who is standing in front of you. Unless and until you have trust on the person, you won't be able to gain or acquire the things from that person. So trust is very important in as far as communication is there. So sender, receiver both need to have trust in between them, that the sender, whatever messages the sender is giving me, it is truth and I need to abide by that. Again, next is the organizational oral behavior. Organizational policies. Yes, organizational policies. Now, because of organizational policies, stringent organizational policies, what happens is the employees are not able to come up or not able to give suggestions, or there is some kind of hesitation because of the stringent policies, because of which again they're not able to communicate to the top management. So the best thing is always abide by the organizational policies that have been laid down. Now, the organizational policies have been laid down for the organization and for the people working for that particular organization, so they have to be abided by. Rules and regulations, again, they have to be followed. Rules and regulations, they are meant to be followed and they are not meant to be broken. Status difference, again, this superior subordinate relation, it matters a lot. Subordinates feel we are discriminated, superiors feel we are superior, so such kind of things have to be eliminated, and there has to be equity, not equality. There has to be equity in such kind of in every organization. Complex organization, the organization structure like matrix functional, wherein many complexities are there. What happens is, in such kind of organization, the person is not able to understand whom do I have to actually report, who is my reporting authority, whom do I have to go and seek for help. So such kind of things again create nuisance in the organization, in the also create hindrances in the communication process. So these things have to be taken care of. Again, organizational facilities like transport, stationery, and all these things have to be provided to the employees working in the organization, so that they are able to communicate properly their problems, their anything, their feedback, the suggestions, and all. They're able to communicate properly. So proper facilities have to be given to the employees working in an organization. Next is personal barriers. Lack of confidence, it matters a lot. If a person is having lack of confidence, is not confident, lack of willpower, the person won't be able to come up whatever what he is. The person has to be confident. There should be no hesitation within himself or herself. Once you can be wrong, but what I feel is you need to come up. You need to speak out. You need to try yourself. You can correct yourself. So lack of confidence again creates a big hindrance in the communication process, because you're not able to speak up. Lack of incentives, if you're not rewarded, if the employees are not rewarded accordingly, no person will feel motivated, and hence again communication process will be hampered. So incentives have to be rewarded accordingly to the, not only to the employees, any individual who has worked hard or who has achieved something or the other. So it is very important to award incentives. Fear of authority, again, this should not be there. Fear of authority, that authority should not be a problem in the communication process. Authority should be like a helping hand for individuals. It should not be a problem creator. So this is all about barriers to communication. Now let's see that how can we improve existing level of communication, how the communication can be improved. So these are the following steps. Improve language. We need to read more. We need to understand more. We need to listen more. Reading, listening over speaking matters the most. We need to listen more. So if we listen more, and yes, most important is we need to listen qualitative people. We need to interact with them. If we listen to them at least for half an hour, we gain a lot, many things to learn, many new things. Improve pronunciation. Now see, pronunciation itself has got a kind of pronunciation in the word. It's not pronunciation, it is pronunciation. So these things has to be taken care of. Pronunciation matters a lot. Work on voice modulation. Yes, I need to know where I need to stress upon, where I need to pitch and high, where I need to be low. So this voice has to be well modulated in order to emphasize on the words wherein I need to focus on. Again, work on body language. Body language has to be a lot to be taken care of. It is not just dressing, grooming yourself, but it is also my head, my body, the way I stand, the way I move my hands, my structure, how I stand in front of people, the way I sit, the way I walk, the way I enter the room. So all these things have to be taken care of. Read more. You have to read more. Again, yes, same point. Listen more. Avoid reading or watching or listening unwanted literature. Gossips are to be avoided. Media presentation, false, fake media representations have to be avoided. Gossips have to be avoided. Unwanted literature, we gain nothing. So they have to be avoided. Interact with qualitative people, like I told before. Improve on your topic of discussion. The quality has to be improved, not the quantity. I should improve my quality, what I need to speak. It should not be that how much I need to speak. I should improve my quality. Practice meditation. Yes, we need to practice meditation and good thoughts. If you chant, if you do chanting of your any beloved god, you need to meditate, you need to have good thoughts, you need to think good. If you think good, then you can speak good. You'll have good words, like I told you, good words like hitbhashi, like Rama. Yes, I told you speech pattern of Rama. So out of 4, one was hitbhashi. So hitbhashi, one who speaks pleasant words. So we need to take care of that particular thing. Then again, do not speak too fast. Yes, we need to maintain punctuation while we are speaking. Where I need to pause, where I need to continue, where I need not pause. So I should be knowing all these things. Use simple vocabulary. It is not, communication does not mean that I need to use very tedious words or complex words which are not able to which the other person cannot understand. Communication simply means the language or the words which the other person is very easily able to understand. So these things have to be taken care of. So simple vocabulary or simple vocab has to be used. Do not speak only to impress someone. Today, it is a stage wherein English is considered as a level of intelligence of the person, is used to judge the level of intelligence. This should not be the case. Select any language, and you should be very comfortable with that language. And according to me, that is the best way to communicate. If you are comfortable in speaking Marathi or Konkani, that's the best way in which you can communicate. If you are very much confident in speaking English, you have very good hold in English, you can do that. So it should not be that I am using or I am speaking in French to impress. You don't know French, but you're still trying to speak just to impress someone. That should not be the case. That is not a good communication. Take any language, but you should have a good hold, and it can be a good communication. Do what you're comfortable in. Look presentable and confident. Yes, you should always be well dressed up. Your hair should be tidy. Your dressing style should be good. You should look presentable and very confident in the way you walk, again, the way you speak to people, the way you shake hands with people. Again, in this, I have not included it, but yes, smile. You should always carry a smile on your face. Because what I feel is, smile is a mile that is to be achieved. So you should always carry a smile on your face. Okay. Now, 7 C's of communication. This is the very important topic when it comes to communication. 7 C's of communication. So, again, I'll quote an example from Ramayana. Hanumanji followed all the 7 C's of communication whenever he used to communicate, be it with a stranger, be it with his friend or anyone. He used to communicate by considering all the 7 C's. So 7 C's under this, first is completeness. Hanumanji, according to Hanumanji's messages were very complete. All the messages or all the words, all the content that he wanted to communicate, it was a blend of everything. Now let's see in detail. Clarity. So again, like I told you in the beginning of the my lecture, that we need to have clarity of 2 things, that is clarity of thoughts and clarity of expressions. Now what do I mean by clarity of thoughts? I need to be clear what message has to be communicated, what is the objective, and which medium has to be chosen or selected for communication. Again, clarity of expressions. Simple words have to be used. Single words for long phrases. Verbs have to be used for nouns like beautiful Ahana, smart Shaurya. So such things have to be taken care of. Avoid double entry words. Double entry words have to be avoided. Double meaning words have to be avoided. Make things as easy as possible so that you can be easily the things can be easily expressed, and your thought process is also very simple and very easy to understand. Again, avoid jargons have to be avoided, and ambiguity, any kind of ambiguity, confusions have to be avoided. Things have to be made very easily when it comes to communication. Again, completeness. Yes, like Hanumanji, his messages were always complete. There was no chance of second question arising out of his kind of communication. So we have to check for 5 W's. That is who, what, where, when, and why. So these things have to be checked for. Again, conciseness, include only relevant facts. The facts that are relevant, Hanumanji used to speak whatever was or whatever is relevant. Whenever anything was asked, he used to very concisely answer, including all the relevant facts. Repetition should be avoided. Organize your message well. The message has to be well organized, well constructed, without any kind of grammatical error. Hanumanji had a very good hold on grammar. His speech was very clear. And this all is evident in the stanzas from Ramayana. Consideration. Uh, Adopt the you attitude, avoid gender bias. The you attitude has to be adopted. Gender bias has to be eliminated. No discrimination between genders, and emphasize on positive, pleasant facts. Even where in this, when Hanumanji first met Rama in Ramayana, when they met for the first time, they both were strangers to each other. Even then, Hanumanji considered Rama, and he was very positive and he used very pleasant words while communicated, because he actually made a judgment that he belongs to some royal family. So we have to consider the person who is standing in front of him, what he or she wants to hear or what he or she wants to listen from me. So this thing has to be taken care of. It is not you all the time that what you want to say. It is you, the other side, what the other side of the other side who's standing in front of you wants to have from you. Again, concreteness. Message should be concrete as having all the meanings conveyed in it, but should be shorter in length. It has to be to the point. Concrete should not be too lengthy. It does not be very monotonous. It has to be crisp and short. Keep it short and sweet. Has to be followed. Keep it short and sweet. Correctness. Give correct facts. Send your message at the correct time. Correct facts, whatever the facts are, that has to be taken care of. The correct time and correct style. Time has to be taken care of. The morning message should not be sent in the night. Night message should not be sent in the morning. So this thing has to be taken care of. Send a message in the correct style or in the correct manner. We have to take care of this. Courtesy. Answer the letters promptly. The moment you receive any letter, any mail, it has to be answered within an hour or so. Omit irritating expressions. The expressions that you know, the wordy expressions which you know they can cause any kind of problem, have to be omitted or removed. And apologize if you commit any kind of mistake or error, it has to be apologized. And for any favor sought or taken from any person, you have to thank that person generously. So that's for today, and I thank you and all the best.